Let's talk about trauma, memory, and the courts. In the cross-examination, defense lawyers were really trying to focus on gaps in the memory of the woman at the center of this sexual assault trial. Also look into inconsistencies between her testimony and statements she had given investigators with London Police and Hockey Canada. Quick reminder, 5 former World Junior Hockey players are accused of sexually assaulting the woman known only as EM because of a standard publication ban. Michael McLeod, Alex Fermenton, Carter Hart, Dylan Dubé, and Cal Foote have all pleaded not guilty. Ultimately, it's up to the jury to determine whether or not the acts that are alleged to have happened that night were consensual or amount to a criminal act. Under cross-examination, EM often talked about how she had difficulty recalling some of the specifics of what she said happened to her that night. And part of that she attributed to trying to process the trauma. So how can trauma affect memory and testimony? Researchers in Canada have been looking into it.
During a traumatic event, you're under a tremendous amount of stress, and the stress hormones affect the way that your brain actually records the memories. In some cases, that makes the memories very intense and detailed and rich. And then it can have exactly the opposite effect, where there are gaps in memories and inconsistencies.
Researchers who studied trauma say that sometimes people can repress a memory, which makes it difficult to recall, and also they can get mixed up in what the order of events might have been.
We know that trauma does seem to interfere with memory. Trauma seems to cause memory to become kind of fragmented. You might remember kind of disjointed bits and pieces of the event. They might not be in chronological order, so the memory looks kind of scattered.
One of the things that's frustrated the defense teams is that EM often says, "I felt that this is what happened," rather than using definitive language like "this is what happened." But it turns out if you talk to people who research trauma, that's not uncommon.
You have to remember that the brain and the mind are one. So what we feel is a way of colloquially saying, that's what I'm thinking, and that produces an emotion. So we call that feelings. When a victim says, I feel this is what happened, I would believe it. I would say, yeah, this is what you're feeling. It's up to the defense to challenge that, but in a way that does not re-traumatize the complainant.
It's important to be able to get testimony from and cross-examine witnesses, and Snaderman says defense lawyers need to be able to ask tough and incisive questions of witnesses, even if it risks re-traumatizing them, because you have to be able to gauge their credibility. What researchers hope is that the law is able to catch up to the science and somehow incorporate it.